Hey there, Andrew here. I love to be entertained, but I have no patience, so I give every new show I watch only one episode to hook me. Welcome to Debut Review. I am suppressing a cough. I have failed to suppress the cough. Normally, I am pretty terrible at tracking when various movies and TV shows debut. But I had a pretty good idea what day of the week Wednesday would drop. Came out on Wednesday. Had no idea which Wednesday. Been checking Netflix for like 3 months. Something I could have probably looked up online, but just can't be bothered, I guess. Smart, sarcastic, and a little dead inside. Wednesday Addams investigates a murder spree while making new friends and foes at Nevermore Academy. Okay, so I've seen the Gwendolyn Christie. How about that? I've seen the trailers for this, and my take is that the movie is about Wednesday going to this Nevermore Academy, which is a school for weird kids. Like Wednesday. Which is an odd choice. Now, I'm not a connoisseur of the original comic or the television show. I saw the 2 movies, the live action films from the 90s, and really liked them. That's all I've seen. But my takeaway is part of the gag is the juxtaposition between the oddness of the creepy and kookiness of the Addams family versus normal people, right? That contrast is important. Because, the joke there is the Addams think all the normal people are the weird ones. So I don't know what you're going to do when everyone is the weird one. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying, interesting choice. Let's see if it works. Imagine you have a bunch of stuff, of varying quality, and you take that stuff and you put it all in a bag and you swirl it around. The good stuff and the bad stuff, it's in the bag, all mixed together. I think that's an appropriate description of Wednesday. It's a mixed bag. I'm already regretting this joke that I'm strangling to death. So moving on. I like liking things. I really do. I am not happy that I'm not particularly enthused by this show. I would really love to love it and spend the next 20 minutes just excitedly yammering about what a lovely show it is and why I like it, but instead I have to talk about the many things I quite like and the things I don't think are working very well. Andor was good, though, yeah? Andor was really interesting because that was a show that I was really looking forward to. The market, I had absolutely no interest in it when I heard the concept. Oh, we're making an Andor show? Okay, but Rogue One was bad. So I don't really care. Not that Rogue One was hard to sit through or not entertaining. It was fine. It's just not a good movie. It's really poorly plotted and structured and put together. But then the marketing started for Andor. I was like, ooh, this looks really, really good. And it premiered with the first 3 of 12 episodes. And so I was, even though it's school night, work night, I had to work the next day. In my time zone, it premiered at midnight. I was going to stay up till 3 a.m. and watch all 3 episodes. And I watched the first episode and it bored the hell out of me, so I went to bed. I didn't even want to watch the next 2 episodes. It took me a couple days to work up to it. I was like, maybe it just had a rough start. You know, it just got off on the wrong foot. So, I think the following Friday, I said, all right, sat down and watched episodes 2, and I watched episode 3, and they bored the hell out of me. I thought they were lousy. Again, not to say there was nothing good about it, just that I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So it's like, oh, well, okay, that's a quarter of the show right there. And because I'm a stubborn person, I get, or because I have to watch everything Star Wars, I don't know. I ended up watching episode 4, and it was really, really good. I was like, huh. Okay. And episode 5 was really good. And so were all the episodes. In fact, as of recording, I think the series finale was 2 nights ago. And, maybe last night? I don't know. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. So it was, last night. I didn't get to sleep at all. No. Andor is easily the best Star Wars television show. By far. And I liked, Mandalorian, and there were bad show, but I enjoyed a lot about Boba Fett, and even Obi-Wan Kenobi was, half of it was good. I didn't really care for Star Wars Visions. Saying Andor's the best Star Wars TV thing that I've seen. I haven't seen most of the cartoons. I've seen the Lego specials. I saw the 2 Ewok adventures. I saw the Gendy Teratovsky, the Clone Wars, the 2D ones that he did. I never saw the 3D Clone Wars or Rebels or Bad Batch. So, Andor, easily the best Star Wars TV thing I've seen, and I think I'll spend more time thinking about it, but it may be the best Star Wars thing, period. Really, really good. So the fact that I wasn't totally into Wednesday doesn't mean the show is going to be bad. I mean, the first episode's not bad, it's just not great, in my ever so humble opinion. Maybe it's like Andor, maybe it's got a rough start, and it becomes really, really good a couple episodes in. I think I'm going to tune into episode 2. And I'll talk more about the show as a whole in a second, but the thing that convinced me to watch episode 2 was very close to the end of this first episode, where, as the show description says, Wednesday's investigating a murder spree at her new school. Well, we see the big monster thing that's killing things, and it is a big, goofy, bug-eyed monster, and I love it. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to keep watching because of this big, bug-eyed monster. I love it. So, show as a whole. What's working? Okay, well, Danny Elfman is my favorite composer, so I'm digging the score. The production design is... Excuse me. Ugh. The production design is lovely. I'm really digging the aesthetic look of the sets and the costuming and all the props and stuff. Loving it. Love it. Looks really good. The humor is very often really strong. I'm loving Wednesday's patented gallows humor. It's there are there most of the ways you could rub me are wrong, but there are a couple that are right. And this brand of gallows humor, that is the right way to rub me. Don't try rubbing me. It's probably going to be wrong. I need sleep. So, performances are all fine. Where I am running into problems is with just some of the characters. For example, I wouldn't say Luis Guzman is giving a bad performance. I would never say that. But I don't like Gomez Addams, at least what little we see of him here. He's just off-putting. In the Addams Family movies in the 90s with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston, part of the joke was Gomez and Morticia are just absolutely disgustingly head over heels in love with each other. Like in kind of an inappropriate PDA kind of way. But in those movies, it was not only funny, it was really rather sweet. What little we get of that, because they're only in the very beginning of the show and like a little bit towards the end, is not sweet or funny. It's just off-putting. It's uncomfortable. Which, if that was the intention, sure, but I don't know that that was actually the intended... I don't think that was the intention. It's just like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. I don't like this. This is just... I want to go, you know? Wednesday as a character, she is borderline unlikable. I love her I love her attitude, and I love her in the sense of her gallows humor. But the Wednesday in this show is just a really obnoxiously unpleasant asshole a lot of the time. And she's our main protagonist who we're following through the show. Comparing it again to the movies, the Christina Ricci version, and it's certainly not the fault of Jenna Ortega. It's not the performer doing a bad job, it's the character. Portrayal is fine. I'm having issues with the character. Wednesday is very often, not always, but very often in this first episode, just completely unlikable. I'm not on board with her. And I think part of it is they're going for just angsty teenager, no, I'm rebelling against you, Mom, that kind of a thing. But I think they want it to be funny. Like, oh, those teenagers being obnoxious little twits. No, this is just, it's mean, and it doesn't feel good, you know? Not a consistent problem, but a big enough problem that it was not working for me throughout the show. In the intro I talked about, it's kind of, to me, a weird idea to have an Addams Family show. Hey, what if the Addams Family was in an area where everyone's the weird one? Okay, well, now you're losing contrast, so what are you even doing? Again, not saying you can't do that, just what are you doing? So what is the show doing? Well, it's making her the weird one among weird ones. So why bother? I don't know. It's just... So far, again, first episode out of 8 or something. There's absolutely no reason for her to be at a school full of misfits. Some of the students are vampires. There's a very funny joke about some of them have been here for decades. Literally. Some of them have literally been here for decades. It's like, wow, I've been held back for a while. That's pretty funny. I like that. Some of them are werewolves. One may be a Gorgon. Because he's wearing a beanie, but he seems to have like a snake sticking out of the front of his beanie and something's moving under his cap. It's a fun concept. One of them's a siren, and so far, none of this matters at all. Do you know how much bearing on the plot the fact that, there's a clique of werewolves and a clique of vampires and there's a Gorgon and a mermaid? You know how much bearing that has on the plot so far? Absolutely zero. None whatsoever. Not saying there won't eventually be. I'm just saying so far I don't get what we're going for here. That said, I really like Wednesday's roommate. She's fun. She's just a Wednesday's polar opposite. She's a hugger. She's very outgoing and high energy and very happy and colorful. And she's also just kind of a fun character. She has an interesting thing they're doing here where she's a werewolf, but she can't transform. The best she can do is just extend her claws. She's like, schnicked, and that's it. She's like, that's all I got. It's just, maybe I'm a late bloomer, but if I can never wolf out or whatever, then I can never get a mate, and I'll die alone. And Wednesday's like, that sounds wonderful. And her roommate's like, man, you suck at this. She says, why are you crying? Because I'm angry. I'm upset, you jackass. Yeah. I like the roommate. The roommate's fun so far. So the idea that she can't completely transform, so she can't run with her pack. Is that the entire justification for having a school full of vampires and werewolves? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Christina Ricci's in this. She plays one of the teachers, so that's pretty cool. Gwendolyn Christie, I mentioned. She's the headmaster, I guess. She's cool. I actually only know... Apparently she was on Game of Thrones, and that's what she's most known for. Haven't seen that. Apparently she plays the devil on... Neil Gaiman something. Sandman, which I've not seen or read. The only thing I've ever seen Gwendolyn Christie in is the Star Wars movie, Captain Phasma. And they didn't do anything with that character, so... But I like her here. Wednesday has precognition powers. I don't know why. Maybe it's a deep cut to the original comics. I don't know. But I am concerned, and the first episode is not mollifying said concern, that this precog power is used for no other reason than to get Wednesday to where she needs to be or give her information that she needs to know, because we couldn't find a good way to work that into the narrative otherwise. It comes off as very lazy writing. It's like, especially when apparently the entire series is about Wednesday Addams investigating a murder spree. She's a novelist. She writes murder mystery stories, and she can't get them published because they're too morbid. which is funny. So she, takes the constructive feedback from her would-be publishers and sends them boxes full of loaded mousetraps, which is funny. Also, from a humor standpoint, they show her. She's telling it. How did you? She says, "I always accept constructive criticism," and then it cuts to her loading So I sent her a thank you gift. It shows her loading a box with loaded mousetraps. That's the punchline. You don't need to cut to the person reaching into the box and going, "Ow!" We get it. We don't need to see that. You're explaining the joke. Have faith in your audience. That's really one of the only examples I can think of over-explaining a joke. That one just caught me as weird. There's some weird editing in this movie. There actually is some weird editing. The cinematography ranges from okay to did we not have any time today? I swear to God, some of the cinematography is unbearably boring and flat. Especially when the production design is so good, right? There are a lot of really flat, static shots like this, where it's just, one shot, and then it cuts to the opposite person talking, 2 shot. You know how people used to complain about how Kevin Smith shot his movies when he was making movies in the mid to late 90s? Kind of the same idea here. Not always, but a lot of times it feels like when they were shooting this scene, they were like, "Oh shoot, we've got 2 hours. Shot, reverse shot. Let's get it done. We don't have time to set up anything fancy." I mean, hey, movie production's a bitch. That can happen. As far as weird editing, there's a bit at the very end of the movie. She's on a phone call via crystal ball with her parents, and they're like, "How was your first week at school?" And Wednesday is doing a voiceover, but the voiceover appears to be what she would be telling her parents, and her parents in the reaction shots are reacting like they can hear her voiceover. What is going on here? What are you doing, Timmy Boo? The director, Timmy Boo. The way this show starts out, you get the Netflix logo, and then boom, 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 dun, 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 and it just immediately music starts, cut into the school, and it's just, oh crap! Did I hit the button on the remote and accidentally skip like 5 minutes into the show? No, it just boom, we're going to start. We're starting the show. It's so exciting. I'm like, oh my God. I must have missed the first minute. Oh no, that's just how it starts. Fine. But it's weird. Although it's the Addams Family, so meta, I don't know. So, the bag is definitely mixed. I also appreciate the fact that it's a little gory, not in a sickening, like really off-putting Saw kind of a way, or I don't know, Martyrs. If you saw that movie, what was that, French? I don't remember. Well, it was remade in America, so maybe South English one. I haven't seen the remake though. I talk about one of the monthly movie mini reviews. Anyway, what was I talking about? Gore. So, there's actual blood, and people die, and they get. There's a wonderful part where a hiker gets eviscerated, and the police are like, "Well, there's his head. Where's the rest of him?" "Well, we got an arm over there," and it cuts. There's an arm in a tree, and his left leg's over there, and it cuts, and there's another piece over there. We haven't found the other 2 bits. It's like, And it's ghastly and it's morbid and it's perhaps even a little disturbing, but it's dark, but it's still fun. I think tonally those moments are riding the appropriate line. People do die, people do bleed, but this is not to use a recent example, like the Terrifier movies with Art the Clown, right? Those are just celebrations of Gru. Can we make the audience barf? That's not what they're going for. It's a visual representation of Wednesday Addams' patented gallows humor, and that's working for me. So there's a lot that works for me, but yeah, that bag is mixed. So, if you cast your eyes downward, you'll find a handy-dandy comments section, conveniently located right under this video. So, let me know what you think of, what's it called? Wednesday. I was like, it's the Addams something, right? No, it's just called Wednesday. So, if you've seen it, let me know what you think. I'm gonna go see if my fish are de-thawed. And if they're de-thawed, I'm gonna eat them. Because I'm hungry.